And thanks so much for joining us at noon. New developments in a crash that injured a bus full of football players late last night. I'm Rick Fulbaugh.
And I'm Savannah Louie. This happening in Polk County. That's just about 50 miles northeast of Atlanta. We have Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm, who is live in Floyd County, where those football players attend high school. And Rebecca, you're now learning that there has been an arrest made in this case.
That's right, Savannah and Rick, good afternoon to you. The State Patrol tells us they believe the driver who caused the bus to overturn had been drinking. The football players who were injured go to Rome High School, and as you can imagine, everybody here is talking about how amazing it is that nobody was seriously injured. We spoke with a man who lives near the site of the crash. When he heard a loud boom, he went outside to see what it was. Joshua Sutherland says when he came out of his home on Highway 101 between Rockmart and Rome in Polk County, a school bus was on its side and people were panicked.
Crying, confused, wonder what happened, and it was just total chaos. Some of them just laid on the ground until EMT and everybody else arrived.
He quickly learned they were football players from Rome High School who had just played Rockmart High in a preseason scrimmage. The bus driver was still trapped inside.
I was able to get into the front window of the front of the bus, get the bus driver out, undo the seatbelt, get him out. But he was dazed and worried about the kid, and I told him they'd be fine. We just need to get you out quickly as possible. Soon,
first responders from both Floyd and Polk counties were on the scene.
But everybody worked together seamlessly. It's what we train for, it's how they operate. And just to remind you that Polk County is a primarily volunteer fire department. So these people that respond have other jobs and serve the community.
According to Atrium Health Floyd Medical Center, 11 people, 2 of them adults, were taken to the hospital's ER for minor injuries. According to the Georgia State Patrol, the accident happened when the driver of an oncoming Nissan Versa crossed the center lane, striking the corner of the bus and ultimately causing it to flip on its side, breaking a utility pole in the process. By mid-morning, investigators announced the driver had been arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol. And we are working to get the name of the person arrested. Live in Rome in Floyd County, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.